Imagine that somewhere in your home, perhaps in a corner you overlook every day, there exists an invisible door. A door that doesn't open with keys or effort, but with energy. A door that connects the visible world with the invisible forces of abundance. Today, you're going to discover an ancient secret, one hidden among forgotten rituals and ancestral wisdom: the power of the salt jar. This isn't superstition, but an energetic tool capable of transforming the vibration of a space and drawing towards you the currents of prosperity that already exist, but that you haven't yet learned to activate. For centuries, salt has been considered far more than a simple mineral. It was a symbol of purity, protection, and balance between worlds. The wise used to say that wherever salt rests with intention, dark forces retreat, and the energy of creation reveals itself. Today, I will reveal the exact place to put this jar so that its power awakens and begins to work in your favor. Prepare yourself because what you're about to learn is no coincidence. It's an invitation from the universe to realign your energy, clear your paths, and finally open the door to prosperity. This secret did not appear out of nowhere. It comes from our grandmothers and from ancient cultures that discovered in salt a power capable of transforming entire homes. In Mexico, our grandmothers always kept a simple yet powerful secret. A jar of salt could change the atmosphere of a house. They knew that salt was not only for seasoning, it also protected against envy, calmed arguments, and repelled negative energy. Often, after finishing their cooking, they would leave a small jar in the kitchen or near the door, softly murmuring, "May bread never be missing from this table." They didn't do it as decoration, but as a gesture of faith, trusting that the little jar would attract peace and prosperity into their home. And though it may seem like a humble household custom, it wasn't an isolated one. In ancient Egypt, salt was sacred, used in purification rituals as a bridge to the eternal. In Judaism, even today, salt accompanies the Sabbath bread as a symbol of an unbroken covenant. And in Japan, it's tradition to place small mounds of salt at the entrances of homes and shops to attract good fortune and keep away bad energy. As you can see, different cultures across the world arrived at the same conclusion: that in every grain of salt lies a spark capable of cleansing, protecting, and opening invisible gateways to abundance. And while all this sounds fascinating in ancient traditions, the most surprising part is realizing that this power is still alive today. Let me tell you the story of someone who, like you, was seeking a way out of her struggles and found in a simple jar of salt the key to transforming her life. Imagine Fatima, a 66-year-old woman. After a lifetime of effort, she thought that by that age, peace would finally come. But in her home, arguments never seemed to end. Money slipped through her fingers, and she carried a fatigue that even sleep couldn't take away. There were nights when she felt that even the walls held an invisible weight, and she wondered, why does prosperity never come into my life? One day, wandering aimlessly through an old street in her city's historic center, her steps led her to a small shop of herbs and spiritual items. There, she met Maria Sabina, a woman with a deep, knowing gaze, known by many as the Keeper of Secrets. Fatima confessed her feeling of blockage, and Maria Sabina, with calm, almost hypnotic serenity, told her, "The answer is in your own home. Don't look far for what has always been with you. Take a jar of salt, place it in this spot with the right intention, and your home will breathe again." Fatima felt a chill upon hearing those words. She couldn't understand how something so simple could bring such change. Yet there was a certainty in that woman's voice she couldn't ignore. So she decided to try. She found a glass jar she had inherited from her mother, filled it with salt, and placed it in silence, just as Maria Sabina had instructed. She told no one. At first, nothing seemed to happen. But after a few days, the atmosphere in her home began to change. Arguments softened. The air felt lighter, and even Fatima's face seemed to recover a lost serenity. Soon, small signs began to appear: a long overdue payment, a family issue that found an unexpected solution, and above all, a new clarity in her mind and heart. Fatima realized then that the jar wasn't just an object, it was a silent guardian, an invisible bridge between what needed to leave and what was ready to arrive. And it all began the day she chose to listen to that mysterious guardian and trust in the hidden power of salt. And what Fatima discovered, you're about to discover too, because this power isn't reserved for a few. If you pay attention and apply what I'm about to show you, the salt jar can become your own guardian of abundance. Why does this happen? Because salt is far more than a condiment. Since ancient times, it's been known to act as an energetic sponge, absorbing heavy vibrations, sadness, conflict, and anything that blocks the flow of prosperity. When you place it inside a jar, that power becomes focused and stable, like capturing a river within a vessel to direct its force. In silence, the salt cleanses the energy around you, making space for the new. It's as if it were saying, I'll carry what weighs you down so that peace and abundance can enter your life. But there's one more secret. The true power of this ritual lies not only in the salt, but in the secrecy with which you keep it. It's not something to tell your family about or to show your friends. The salt jar works best when no one knows where it is. In silence, like a seed germinating beneath the earth, its strength grows undisturbed. What is done in silence blooms with greater power. That's why when you bring salt into your home with the right intention and keep it secret, the jar becomes a true invisible guardian, a guardian that never rests, working day and night, gradually harmonizing the energy of your home until the change becomes evident. The most incredible part is that all of this happens without the need for a single word. No one else needs to know. And yet the energy begins to transform as if you were moving hidden pieces on the great board of life. Now you understand why salt holds this hidden power and why silence is the key to make it work. But something even more important remains: the exact place where you must put your jar, because depending on where you place it, its energy can protect, cleanse, or even open the door to prosperity in ways you can't yet imagine. Stay very attentive because I'm about to reveal those secret spots that can completely transform your home. One of the best kept secrets of this ritual lies in the exact place where you place your salt jar, for every corner of your home holds a different energetic meaning. Depending on the spot you choose, the jar will act in a unique way. If you place it at the main entrance, it's like putting a guardian at the door of your home. There, the salt intercepts any heavy energy before it crosses inside, working as an invisible filter that allows only the good to enter. It's the ideal place, if you've noticed, that guests leave behind a dense atmosphere, or if prosperity seems to stagnate as soon as it reaches your doorstep. When you place it behind the door, the effect changes because the door symbolizes passage, choices, and opportunities. There, the jar acts as a silent sentinel that prevents negativity from entering while helping the right opportunities flow toward you more easily. It's perfect if you feel blocked, if doors keep closing, or if delays seem constant in your life. You can also place it in a dark corner of the house. Such corners tend to trap stagnant energy, like invisible puddles of heaviness. Placing a salt jar there is like lighting a hidden lamp. The salt absorbs and transforms that density into lightness. Many people feel an immediate shift, as if the air itself became clearer and easier to breathe. The kitchen or dining room is another powerful location. In many cultures, salt is a symbol of abundance, directly tied to food and nourishment. Placing your jar discreetly in a corner of the kitchen or dining room blesses the family table, ensuring that bread and daily sustenance are never lacking. It serves as a silent reminder that prosperity begins with the food that reaches your home. Each place holds its own power. It's not about filling your home with jars, but about choosing the one spot that resonates most with what you need right now: protection, open paths, cleansing, or constant abundance at your table. The most important thing is to place it calmly and in silence without anyone knowing. Remember, the jar is not just decoration. It's an energetic guardian that begins to work the moment you set it down. And the most surprising thing is that, although it may seem like a small gesture, in just a few days, you'll start noticing how the atmosphere of your home changes and how new opportunities begin to find their way into your life. This is exactly what Gabriela, a woman from Guadalajara, experienced. She decided to place her jar right behind her front door. At first, she did it with doubt, thinking nothing would happen. But after a few days, she noticed that the air felt lighter, as if an invisible tension had disappeared. Her son, who knew nothing about the jar, told her one afternoon, "Mom, they finally paid me the money I'd been waiting for months." That's when she realized that the simple gesture had already begun to attract prosperity. And now I want to hear from you. Where will you place your jar? Write it in the comments because when you declare your decision in written words, you activate your energy and take your first step toward prosperity. Now, although choosing the right place is already a powerful step, there's still one detail that can multiply the strength of this ritual: the material of the jar. Not all containers transmit energy in the same way, and using the wrong one can weaken the effect without you even realizing it. Let me reveal which material is the right one and why it can make the difference between a simple ornament and a true guardian of prosperity. The jar that holds your salt cannot be just any jar. The material you choose plays a vital role because each one vibrates differently and transmits that vibration into your home. Glass, for example, is like a silent mirror. It reflects the intention you place inside and sends it back multiplied, like your desire for prosperity looking at itself again and again until it becomes stronger. A transparent glass jar also allows you to see how the salt remains clean or becomes charged, showing you visibly how it's working. Ceramic, on the other hand, holds the strength of the earth. It's more discreet and solid, perfect for those seeking stability, grounding, and lasting protection. A ceramic jar becomes a closed chest that keeps energy safe and steady over time. This is what Rosa, a woman from Querétaro, discovered. She decided to use a small ceramic jar that had belonged to her mother. When she filled it with salt and placed it in the quietest corner of her kitchen, she noticed that the atmosphere became warmer, as if that object, filled with family memories, was now also protecting her home. A few days later, she received an unexpected visit from her niece, bringing the news of a new job opportunity for her. Rosa then understood that the power was not only in the salt, but also in the material of the jar and the story it carried. In both cases, the most important thing is that the container be simple and that you use it with respect. What you should avoid is plastic or metal because they don't hold energy in the same way. They tend to scatter it instead of concentrating it. Remember, your jar is not just a simple container, it's a true guardian. The material you choose is like the clothing that guardian wears, and the nobler it is, the more power it will have to attract prosperity into your life. Now, you already know the best places to put the jar and the right material for it to act as a true guardian of prosperity. But there's still something few people know, something that can enhance this ritual in a surprising way: the night. It is precisely while we sleep that the salt jar works at its strongest, absorbing the invisible and preparing the ground for abundance to arrive. Stay with me, because I'm going to reveal why the darkness of night is the greatest ally of this powerful secret. Most people think the salt jar works during the day, but in truth, its greatest power awakens at night. When silence covers the house and everyone sleeps, energy settles, and it's in that stillness that the salt begins to absorb with greater intensity what no longer serves: accumulated tension, negative thoughts, and dense vibrations floating in the air. The night is like a veil that allows the unseen to move freely. Just as your body rests and renews itself while you sleep, your home does too. The salt jar works in secret, cleansing, organizing, and preparing the space so that abundance can enter the next day. And it doesn't only affect the energy of the house. Many people notice they begin to sleep better, nightmares disappear, or they wake up without the same heaviness in their body. That's because salt not only protects your space, it also accompanies your rest. This is exactly what Alfonso, a man from Merida, experienced. He decided to place his jar in a dark corner of his bedroom. After a few days, he began to notice that his dreams were changing. They were no longer confusing or heavy, but clearer and more revealing. He even dreamed of numbers and of a conversation that later helped him make a very important financial decision. For him, it wasn't coincidence. He understood that the jar had opened a silent channel during the night to guide him toward new opportunities. That's why, when you prepare your salt jar, remember that while you sleep, it stays awake. Every night, without you seeing it, it absorbs what's unnecessary and makes room for what you need: peace, clarity, and prosperity. Now you know that the night amplifies the power of the salt jar, but the most exciting part comes next. Because when the energy begins to clear, unmistakable signs start appearing. showing that prosperity is knocking at your door. Let me tell you what those signs are so you can recognize them and confirm that the ritual is already working in your life. When you place your salt jar in the right spot, made of the right material, and let it work in silence, there comes a moment when you start noticing clear signs that energy is moving in your favor. At first, the changes are subtle. The atmosphere at home feels lighter, arguments decrease, or you suddenly sense a calm that once seemed impossible. Some people even notice that their sleep improves, becoming deeper and more restorative. Then the visible signs appear. Some people receive money they'd been waiting for. Others find unexpected work or business opportunities. And there are even those who experience family reconciliations that once seemed out of reach. These small, everyday miracles are signs that prosperity is making its way in. This is exactly what Leticia, a woman from Veracruz, experienced. She had been waiting for months to be repaid a loan. After placing her salt jar at the entrance of her home, not only was the debt resolved, but a neighbor she hadn't spoken to in years was the first to knock on her door to make peace. For her, it was confirmation that the jar was working on more than one level, not just financially, but emotionally as well. When these signs begin to appear, there's no doubt the jar is at work. It might be unexpected money, a problem resolving itself almost effortlessly, or the sense that doors are finally opening with less resistance. And the best part is that each person experiences it differently, as if the energy itself knows exactly what each soul needs. So when you notice the first changes, be grateful because they are the confirmation that the ritual is already working in your life and that the best is yet to come. And once these signs begin to manifest, you'll know the jar is already active in your life. But here's where it gets even more interesting. There are a few simple tips that can make its power even greater. Small secrets almost no one knows, which can enhance abundance in a surprising way. The first is renewing the salt. Over time, the salt becomes saturated and stops absorbing in the same way. Ideally, replace it once a month or during the new moon. When you do, thank the salt for fulfilling its purpose and dispose of it by burying it in the earth or releasing it into running water, always with gratitude. The second tip is to activate the jar with your intention. Before sealing it, hold it close to your chest and quietly say a phrase such as, "May abundance and peace reign in this home." Your words are energy, and by speaking them, you turn the jar into a conscious ally that knows exactly what you desire. The third is to add a touch of nature. Many people place a few bay leaves inside to attract prosperity, a piece of cinnamon to open paths, or a clove to protect against envy. They're small details, yet full of symbolism, that strengthen the jar's effect. And finally, take advantage of the moon's energy. Every so often, place your jar by a window on the night of the full moon. The moonlight purifies and recharges it, as if giving it new strength to continue working quietly for your abundance. If you follow these tips, the salt jar won't just act as an invisible guardian, it will become a true antenna that attracts prosperity, opportunity, and well being into your life and your family's. Now you know a simple salt jar can become a silent guardian that cleanses your home, protects your loved ones, and opens the doors to abundance. And if you also apply these additional tips, its power will grow even greater because you'll be multiplying its energy consciously. Remember, none of this is a coincidence. If this knowledge has reached you today, it's because prosperity is seeking to enter your life. The next step depends on you. Put it into practice and open yourself to receive all the good the universe has prepared. And if this message resonated with you, I'd love for you to confirm it in the comments by writing, "Wealth is already flowing toward me." That declaration not only strengthens your own energy, it also inspires others in this community to believe in their own power. And tell me too, from what part of the world are you watching me? It fills me with joy to see how this community of abundance grows and spreads to so many corners of the world. Don't forget to leave a like if this video brought you value, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next rituals and teachings. And above all, share this video with someone who needs it, because sometimes one small gesture can completely transform a person's life. Abundance is already on its way, and you've just taken the first step to receive it. Thank you from my heart for joining me on this path of wisdom and prosperity. Remember, every time you take part in these rituals, you're not only transforming your own life, You're uplifting the energy of this entire community. I send you a warm embrace full of light and abundance, and I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.